Hey, this is Brian Kurtz with the Short Sale Show, the show where we talk about how you can use the short sale process in order to avoid foreclosure, save your credit, and bring little to no cash to closing. Today we're going to be talking about deficiency balances. This seems to be probably the number one most asked question by people that I work with, even more so than how does this affect my credit, short sale, you know. The number one question is what exactly happens with the deficiency balance? And so the deficiency balance is the negative amount, the amount that the lender takes as a loss when you complete a short sale. So really we find that in short sale transactions, there's only three options here. We'll go over all three of those right now. First of all, first option with deficiency balance, we call it the write-off. So the write-off is a scenario where the bank really just writes all the debt off. They don't require you to reassume any of it. They don't require you to pay any of it back on a short note. They don't try to go after you for any type of judgment or anything like that. They simply write it off. Now, when they write it off on their taxes as bad debt, usually what they are going to be required to do by the IRS is they are going to have to issue you a 1099-C. So that shows up as kind of phantom income on your credit report or on your income tax statement for the next year. So it's 2008 right now. If you owe $400,000 on your house and you sell it for $325, and let's just say the net amount back to the bank is $300,000, they're losing $100,000, right? So they would issue you a 1099 if they wrote it off, and they went method one, the write-off method, and it would show as you earned an extra $100,000 this year, which you didn't pay taxes on. That might push you into a different tax bracket, things like that. Now, real quick, little legal disclaimer, I am not a tax attorney. If you want to get more information about tax benefits, strategies, how foreclosure, deficiency balances, write-offs, and things like that, if you want to drill down and get more information on that, go ahead and consult a tax attorney. I'm just going to give you an overview of information that you can start with, and then start going from there to seek professional counsel. Legal disclaimer all done. Here's what you need to be thinking about. First of all, this 1099 phantom income statement, people are like, oh my God, I might earn an extra 100 grand that I didn't pay taxes on. Man, in my particular tax bracket, I might have to pay 30% of that, or basically in 1 year, write a check to the IRS for $30,000. Now, if I had $30,000 sitting around, I wouldn't be facing foreclosure, would I? So, usually a pretty big concern. So let's go over two things that you want to think about there. First of all, the new law that was passed in December of 2007, Mortgage Indebtedness Relief Act, the Mortgage Indebtedness Relief Act of 2007 basically says on your primary residence, if you live there 2 years and qualify for it as your primary residence and all of that, it's your home, and it was purchase money, so money that you use to acquire the property, acquisition indebtedness. If you end up having a phantom income statement, either because you did a short refinance or you did a short sale, either of these two things like that, it doesn't count against you. How is it going to be pretty much washed out? I don't know. You're going to get the 1099-C. I'm assuming that when you go to file your taxes in 2009, there's going to be some type of schedule or form that is going to wash that out. Once again, talk to your tax advisor. Unfortunately, you're going to probably need to dig down deep because there's not going to be a lot of tax advisors that even know what you're talking about. Probably the average guy at H&R Block isn't the one to talk to. Okay, so that's number one. Then usually that's the best route. Bank writes it off, and because of current tax laws, if it has no tax liability to you, you're like, yay, I get a get out of jail free card. This is actually now the most common thing that we find. Bank just writes the debt off and doesn't require you to reassume it. So scenario number one, I'm finding for my people about 60 to 65% of the time. Scenario number two, the bad one, we call this the ball and chain. Now, the ball and chain is where the bank requires you to reassume all of it, 100% of the debt that you have. That's the shortage amount. Like in our scenario here, you owe 400, bank gets 300 back, the negative amount 100. They might require you to reassume it all at some type of interest rate, at some type of payment plan. You have to sign off on that before they approve the short sale and release the lien. We don't really like this scenario. Thank God it's not very common. Reason being, people that are in a tight spot can't afford to sell their home, can't afford to bring money to closing, usually cannot afford to make payments on a house they no longer live in. I mean, you're moving somewhere, and you gotta pay the bill on the new place, right? So, not very often, because most often, a lot of times, people are gonna file bankruptcy They'll say, yeah, all right, we'll go ahead and sign. Yeah, we're gonna pay. We'll pay on this $100,000 when we move into the next house, and then they just don't pay. So either they have a bad trade line going on their credit report, which is better than a foreclosure, or they file bankruptcy, which is generally better than a foreclosure. Easier to recover from a bankruptcy than a foreclosure. And so that's why we don't see scenario number 2 very often. In fact, I've only had it happen one time, just once. Lenders where GMAC is the first, Wells Fargo is the second. Hopefully we don't run into that ever again. Scenario number 3 is what we call a hybrid. So hybrid is where they kind of combo the two together. They write off a big portion of it, but they require you to reassume a little bit. Let me give you an example. Had a borrower. Negative amount was $33,000. They required the borrower to reassume $3,000 of it. So he signed a soft promissory note saying, hey, I'll pay back $3,000 over a period of 5 years at 0% interest. And payment was like $55 a month. And they wrote the other $30,000 off. So he got 1099 seed for the $30,000. So it was like he didn't get a full get out of jail free card. He had to reassume something. But you think about it, it's like, okay, so I literally got to buy $30,000 with $3,000. Not only that, but I got to finance that $30,000 that I'm buying for $3,000 at 0% interest. And it was money that I had already borrowed. Not a bad deal. Guy said, I think I'm going to go ahead and take that deal. And so he did. I think he said that he paid it off when he got a Christmas bonus or something like that. In any case, those are the 3 scenarios of how it's going to be handled when your deficiency balance. So scenario number 1 is the write-off. You don't pay anything back. Scenario number 2 is the ball and chain, and where you have to pay it all back. And scenario 3 is the hybrid, where you have to pay back a little portion of it, and they write the rest off. So that being said, if you found this post to be helpful and interesting, go ahead and leave your comments in the comment section below. If you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, you need to go to shortsaleshow.com to leave your comments on this particular show. Also, if you think this resource is great for other people out there, was helpful to you, answered a question you had, maybe you want to go ahead and put this out there on those Web 2.0 things, Dig, Technorati, Twitter, things like that. There's little buttons below the post here in the show notes where you can go ahead and click on that and publish what you feel about this particular post to the world and help get it out there so we can help a lot more people that are facing tough times in this current market with the real estate crisis and all. Thanks again for watching the Short Sale Show. We'll see you next time. And just so you know, next time we're going to be drilling down a little bit more on this data, because we need to be talking about exactly what happens if with the deficiency balance, if they require you to reassume some of it. Who can do that? We're going to bring that up and talk about that a little bit more in depth. So I'll see you next time on the Short Sale Show.